Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. This is Tending to Change, and I'm your host, Jenny Juarez. I'm so glad you're here. Today, we're going to talk about habits. So, I'm a mother. I have 4 children. My daughters are teenagers now. They're 16 and 14, and I have 2 sons. One is 4 years old, and my youngest is a little over 8 months old. And what I have noticed so clearly in taking care of my children is how our habits, our day-to-day habits, they start right from the beginning of our lives. And they're really shaped by our parents or our caregivers. I mean, this is everything from what time of day we eat, what time we go to sleep and wake up. When we come into the world as babies, it's all free flow. Babies cry when they're hungry, they cry when they're tired, and they're just following the intuition of their body. But somewhere along the way, out of necessity of work schedules, daycare, and then eventually school for the children, routines have to be implemented. So, okay, we need to go to bed at 8 p.m. and we need to wake up at 6 a.m. to get ready for school. And so we need to eat breakfast at 7, and the school tells us what time lunch is. And our evening schedule dictates when dinner happens and so forth. And over the span of our lives, so much gets routinized. It all becomes habit. And that's actually a good thing from an evolutionary standpoint, because if we had to consciously think about how to drive every single time we get into the car, that is overwhelming. It's too much. So we develop muscle memory. As we learn the process of driving, we don't have to think about buckling our seatbelt, turning the car on, checking our mirrors. In fact, over time, we don't even have to think about how to get somewhere. Once you've driven to the same location more than a couple times, you just show up. And how many times have you driven somewhere and realized you have no clue how you got there? Like you just appeared at this building and you don't remember any of the drive. Why? Because you were on autopilot. Autopilot is a term that describes how when we are doing a task, we're actually not present to the task. We're doing the task through muscle memory, but meanwhile, our mind is wandering. We're just lost in thought, daydreaming, ruminating about the past, projecting into the future, replaying conversations, imagining future conversations, song lyrics. I mean, the list is really endless. The brain is just constantly buzzing and humming in the background. And because of this, we miss out on so much of our lives. In fact, in 2010, Harvard psychologists Matthew Killingsworth and Daniel Gilbert conducted a study on 2,250 participants. And what they found is that the average person spends about 47% of their day on autopilot. This means that they are completely lost in thought and going through automated habits and motions for almost half of their day. You translate that, that's half of a lifetime spent not present to the moment. Equally surprising was that participants reported that while their minds were wandering, they found themselves to be significantly less happy in that moment. So you think about your life right now. I mean, a typical adult working a first shift job, you wake up, you get ready, you go to work, you come home, maybe you change and eat dinner, maybe you watch TV or scroll through social media, and then you go to bed and you wake up and you do the exact same thing again tomorrow. And that repeats day after day, week after week, year after year. And we don't even pay attention. We don't even notice it. And how often have people gotten to the end of their lives nearing death just to realize, oh my God, I did not even live. So, what I'm wanting to invite you, my listeners, in this podcast is let's turn toward our lives with a little bit more awareness and curiosity and with a big dose of gentleness, because this is, again, it's not a failure or a flaw. This is a very useful evolutionary skill that we've adapted to. But even as it's useful, it is also potentially very harmful, and it really takes the joy out of our lives. So what we'll be doing in these conversations is taking the time to be more present, learn how to have an open and a tender heart, and being able to cope with life as it's changing. Because really, if you scratch under the surface, a big reason why we like to keep ourselves so distracted, whether it's with technology or substance or food, is because when we're present, we feel really uncomfortable. Like we might notice that pain in the knee that we've been ignoring, or we might start thinking about a loss that we haven't properly grieved, or we'll start realizing we're not following our dreams. We're not achieving the goals that we had set up for ourselves. And we start to feel really disconnected. So tuning out and being on autopilot is actually a really protective, but it's not a way to live a deep and meaningful life. So let's explore that together. Just to finish off this first episode, I'd like to invite you to just do a brief grounding meditation with me. Now, if you're listening to me while you're driving, please keep your eyes open. But if you are in a space where you can, please close your eyes or just soften your gaze and lower it. I would invite you to notice your breath. Welcome your breath like a dear friend. Don't try to change it or manipulate it. Just notice the quality of it without judgment. Maybe you're holding your breath. Maybe it's long and relaxed. Maybe it's a little choppy. Maybe shallow. Whatever it is, let's let go of the judgment. Begin to feel the breath expand a little bit more, lengthening your inhales just a little, lengthening your exhales. Feeling your body in space, your legs or bottom touching a chair, or if you're standing, feeling your feet on the ground. Noticing gravity's effect on you. Look around now as you open your eyes. Look around, orient yourself to the space that you're in, taking note of colors or shapes, textures. Just notice where you are right now in space and time. This is the beginning of bringing mindful attention to your day. I really appreciate you being here today. I would love to have you back. We'll be discussing in future episodes through the lens of my personal experiences, how I came to this path of mindfulness and yoga, and learning how to take my spirituality and really ground it in reality, in the present moment, so that I can have a more meaningful, purposeful life, a deeper relationship to the bigger energy and the people all around me. I wish that for you. I wish that for all of us. And I look forward to continuing this conversation in the future. Take care, guys. Have a great rest of your day.